8 years ago. I was in Nigeria. It didn't feel like I could be a WWE superstar, but I always wanted more out of life. I didn't know for sure that I was going to be in the WWE. Does the tryout, becomes a superstar. There's no reason I can't be NXT champion, becomes that. So you just have to keep becoming more.
Oh, what's your story? Don't you dare be sour. Clap for Stephanie and feel the power.
But Ova, I would love to hear about, you growing up in Nigeria. Like, it's a culture I've not experienced. I haven't been to Africa yet. And I would just love to hear your experience and more about your culture. And I know you're very close to your parents, and they supported you then coming to American University and, your whole journey.
Well, the African culture is very, very different. It's very strict. I know a lot of people believe in like gentle parenting over here. When I was growing up, that was not a thing. But at the same time,
I've never really heard about gentle parenting.
But at the same time, my parents were like, they were loving and they did everything they could for me, especially my mom. She's my biggest fan, and I know that. So growing up in Nigeria was, I learned a lot of discipline there. That's why a lot of Nigerians, when they cross over, they come here and they do very, very well, because it's very it's very hard to grow up there because it's a discipline, it's regimented. Like you're not allowed to play without asking. You are not allowed to do things without getting permission.
And why do you think it's that way?
A little bit of it is people stuck in their ways because that's how they were raised. But I think that there is some virtue to it because, like I said, when you do cross over to a system that is more helpful and more flexible, we tend to do very, very well. I mean, like, I can count myself as a success story right now, which is,
Yes,
so
congratulations.
Thank you. I'm part of the statistics, but yes, it's designed that way, and it yields results.
I wonder, because everything is sort of born out of necessity, right? Like, did that, discipline and, stricter teaching, did that come about because there was a feeling that was necessary to help you become a success? Was there, something that, was there danger? Was there poverty in the past? Like, were there, what are the things that existed that sort of required you to have that mindset to be able to get through?
So, I mean, being a third world country comes with a lot of things. There's, it's a dangerous place, early death rate, a lot of poverty. So a lot of parents are like, okay, now you have to work hard.
Yeah.
You have to work really, really hard to become not part of the statistic, to become better, to become more. So I think it comes from that. Some of it stems from fear. Some of it stems from, as much as I hate to say it, frustration from your parents because, it's a hard life. So they come home, take some stuff out at you, they make you do things. But like, yeah, it happens. It's normal. I don't take it personal, but like it was mostly because it was a very hard place to be, a lot of poverty. So they wanted me to be different. They wanted me to be better. So that's why. That's the thing about a third world country. It's a wider spectrum.
Okay.
You have places that have, it's basically like a first world city in a third world country. And then you have places that are like third world country, like what you see on TV when, the documentaries are trying to scare you. So it does have that range. I fell somewhere in the middle, which is still like relatively poor to the rest of the world. But my parents made it a point to not make me feel that.
Yeah.
And I commend them for that,
And they made you feel you could do anything if you worked hard enough for it.
Yes, made me feel that, made me feel comfortable, even though like, we were struggling at some points. They never made me feel that. Sometimes I didn't know. I got older and I found out, I'm like, okay, let me start pulling my weight. But like for a very long time, my parents made it like, okay.
And are you an only child?
I am an only child, technically. I have a younger brother who's adopted, but yeah, he's my brother. But for a very long time, I was the only child. And I still have kind of that only child syndrome, if you want to say it. Yeah.
I was going to say, how did the sibling coming along affect you?
it kind of, in a very positive way, they kind of took eyes off of me.
And how old were you?
I was 12 when he came along.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of took eyes off of me, and people were more like, Isaac to the side, and which let it allowed me grow as a human being, as an adult. That's when I started doing my own thing, because like no one was worried about me anymore. I wasn't the only one, because there's this big thing in our culture. It's like, this is my only child. If anything happens to my child, oh. So a lot of eyes were on me, and my parents actually waited 6 years before I was born. So after they got married, they waited 6 years. So
Wow.
like I came late. So when I was born, it was like, oh, this is our one.
Everything's on you.
You know, this is
Yeah.
our one. We can't
A lot of
mess it up.
pressure.
So
Their entire legacy is on you.
essentially, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a lot of pressure.
I don't like to think about it. Yeah.
No.
No.
Pressure's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but like when you start thinking about it, that's when you start playing like something's on the line. And when you start playing like something is on the line, oftentimes we lose.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, I've carried that throughout my whole life. I know there's a lot of things at stake, but I have to play like nothing is on the line. That's the only way there's no nerves. That's the only way we can like walk through it sometimes.
Wow. That's an interesting perspective. I've heard you on some other podcasts and you talk a little bit about that. Like, you know, I understand how the system works and I'm just playing my role and that kind of thing. But I think this is a little bit of a deeper aspect of it. Have there been any, like, did you come to this philosophy through experience? Were there ever any times when you were feeling the pressure and it affected your performance and what you were doing?
Yes, and it was mostly in track and field. When I was a thrower, I threw shot put for like 8 years before I came to the WWE. And in my 8-year journey, we would have like our home base training ring. And then, of course, when you compete, you have to go somewhere else and use another ring. And it'll be slicker, because like every ring is never the same. They build it a little bit slicker, or there's more friction, so it's never the same.
And when you say ring,
The shot put ring.
Okay.
Yeah, the shot put ring. And my coach made me understand that, like, listen, it's the same size, it's the same everything. You just have to go there and execute. Pretend like we're in practice. And that's something that I started doing. It's like, okay, this is the SEC championships. Like, no, this is practice. Let's go through. And like, that was my mindset. Just attack it like it's any other day. And I think it's helped me a lot. It takes a lot of the pressure off my back. And I've carried that same thing to the WWE ring as well.
Right.
You know, I spent 3 years in the Performance Center. It's the same size ring, whether it's 400 here at the PC, 600 at a live event, or 16,000 at Stand and Deliver. It didn't matter to me. So the only way I could really perform is if I just pretended like we're just at the PC.
and then how does that affect your training? Because I imagine if you're in practice, you have to practice like you're playing,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Is there a different level of intensity that you bring to your prep?
100%. There is. But I also believe in slowing things down. Yeah, I'm very big on slowing things down, because like sometimes we can like speed up the motion so much that it loses its meaning. So like sometimes pulling it back to and speeding it up, like there's different ways to do it. Like if you're having a bad day, slow it down, take it back. All right, build your
Assess.
confidence again. And
Yeah.
then, you can start picking it up again. So I think I've gotten pretty good at gauging that. I had coaches over the years, show me when and where to slow down and speed up. So I'm good on all that stuff.
And slow down and speed up as it relates to you and how you're feeling that day.
Yes, how you're feeling, your level of intensity, how your body is feeling, your fatigue level, like whatever it is. You can slow things down, you can take it down to the basics and build it back up. And I would rather have a more focused, slow day where I like gain something new, as opposed to like a fast day where I learn nothing.
Yeah.
So there's that too.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a powerful mindset that not everybody has. Like to be able to, I've never been in the ring, like to get in the ring and not feel that presence of, 400 versus 16,000, or to shot put at a different field and just think, oh, this is just practice. Like in a big game, I don't know, that's not normal in a very positive way. Like, I don't think you could
I don't
teach
think
that.
most everybody could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something to be learned.
It's a
Yeah.
skill set that you learned. So what are some of the best lessons that you learned in track and field, like coaches throughout your life, right? One of the things that we try to do on the podcast is really learn, like, what are the tools for success, right? Because you have an incredible success story already, and it's really just getting started. And what are the tools that you use? This is one of them that you're talking about, you know, throughout your time to get you from where you grew up in Nigeria all the way here to WWE. And what are some of the lessons that you learned, you know, along the way?
Okay, let me think. I have it in mind, but I just have to articulate it well. One of the biggest ones I learned is that you can't change overnight. And unfortunately, some of the things that make you a bad person make you a great athlete.
Like what?
Yeah.
Listen, I don't have any like specific ones myself, but I can say that like some of my shortcomings as a human being, let's say, example, ex-athlete likes approval from people in general.
Right?
Now he meets his coach, seeks coach's approval, listens to
performs.
coach to the T, and executes and performs every single time. So now you can't get that level of attention and, you know, validation seeking without having that in real life, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes that's the balance, you know? Like, I remember one time I tried to, you know, like, turn my life around and, you know, start eating good and sleep at 8 o'clock and do all these things. And then my coach was like, come. He was like, listen, like, if you take all that away, you're actually taking away some of what makes you great. Do it slow and change over time. You can't just change who you are because that rewires you who you are as a performer, as an athlete. So you have to take your time. I think that was the biggest one I learned.
So what's the bad in you?
Tell us.
I knew you were going to ask that question. I can't really call this one bad, but like,
Well, and nothing's really bad or good. It's just, you know,
okay,
how we define it.
I'll give
but-
you this one.
Okay.
So growing up, like I said, hard life. Parents go out, work 9 to 5, come back, and whatever emotions they carry when they come back,
They're bringing.
they bring it with them. And a lot of times they put it on you, right? So, disclaimer, my parents were not bad people. This is just normal. So they would come back and, you know, sometimes put their emotions on me. So that taught me to be very observant of body language. So I learned to gauge people very well. So in a way, it did make me kind of like I cared too much what people thought.
Okay.
Yeah, it turned me into that. I did seek approval in some sense. I was kind of afraid to be myself because like once they walked in with that tension, I could feel that tension. I read the body language. I'm like, okay, it's time to chill out. Let me relax. But like that taught me a
So
lot.
in that moment when, because, you know, that's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel the tension and they're coming home. How did you react to that? Like, so you're reading the body language and not, I'm sure they weren't always tense, right? But in the moments when they were, did you say, okay, I know I've got to, you know, be more reserved.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to challenge them today. I'm not going to ask for whatever it was I was going to ask for.
Yeah, and that makes you retreat into a shell.
You retreated, so that's different.
Retreated into, I
Okay.
retreated into a shell a lot of times. But like that also taught me body language.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I talk to people, you know, even if it's down to like, you know, calling spots or whatever it is, and, you know, I say something they don't like, I see the body language, I'm like,
Right.
he's uncomfortable. Let's pull back. Or sometimes it's
change
like,
direction.
okay, he liked it, let's press. So like that's taught me how to interact with people on some level. And like the thing about wrestling, a lot of people don't understand is that it's very much a people business.
Yes.
If you're friends with the boys and, you know, the office, you know, you're good with everybody. So
Well, but and even just what you were saying, I mean, it's a team sport. That's what a lot of people don't necessarily
Yep.
understand, and the importance of reading your partner / opponent in the ring, right? And that's exactly the example you just gave. Like you're calling spots, you're calling these moments, and if they're not comfortable, how do you then adjust to make them comfortable so that the two of you can tell the best possible story?
yeah, I mean, so knowing the body language is, knowing what to look for. So when you see it, you go from there, right? If you really want it to happen, now you have to like stop and explain why you think what you've called is the best move. Try to like,
And there's not a lot of time to do that.
not a lot of time to do that, but like sometimes you have to. You have to, when you see they're not comfortable, when their body's not going, you have to put them at ease,
So when you don't, how do you do that?
Say something funny, crack a joke, make it not about wrestling for once.
Yeah.
For a few moments, and then come back to it. That's another thing too. You can let it go, and then come back to it later when they're at ease.
And they're feeling better.
They're feeling better.
So crack a joke. That's an awesome one.
Yeah.
What else?
Sometimes press forward.
Just make 'em
because
do it.
Sometimes make them do it.
Yep.
Sometimes you have to go. Sometimes you just have to go. And with Obafemi, you're going,
Whether you like it or not.
whether you like it or not. So that's just the nature of the beast. But I have my different things that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that. And actually, I've heard my husband say that too about just putting people at ease. Because sometimes it's not even a move that you're calling that makes people nervous, but they're just nervous for whatever reason. Yeah. Because they're in the ring with Oba, because, it is a bigger audience or a different audience, or there's people they know in the crowd or whatever it is. Somebody can just be nervous. And how do you calm them down? And that's one of the things Paul's told me a lot is, just make them laugh. Not everybody can make them laugh, though. You got to be funny.
Even if it's a rib
Like,
on
what if it goes bad?
even if it's a rib on the ref in the moment.
Yeah, just something.
Just let them know that like it's not the end of the world.
Right.
Like we're in front of 16,000 people, so what?
So can you tell, like, any funny moments, something that you've done
Tell
to
us
make
your joke
somebody
list.
laugh?
Nothing comes to mind right now, but I remember when I first started, one of the referees told me that I looked handsome mid-match. And I remember that, like, I was like, I was sitting in the chin lock or whatever it was, and he said that, and I was like, okay, like.
Yeah, it just takes you out of your
It
head.
takes you out. You're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
wow, okay, like he's still the same person he is
Perspective,
back
yeah.
there, out here. So like, I'm
great.
cool. We're good.
Yeah. Suddenly you feel...
You feel relaxed.
You're
Yeah.
like, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
How important, because this is I think this aspect of our business is not well told, but how important is the role of the referee?
Super important. You have to have a good one though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of good ones, here in WWE. We're on our, P's and Q's. But the role of the referee is very important. Sometimes you create distance and he's your only
Contact,
he's your only
right?
contact. He's your only middleman, and he's also the middleman between, what's going on out here and what's going on back there,
Mm-hmm.
So very, very important to me, at least. Yeah.
And for them to be able to read the nerves or the energy, right? Like that was a referee that made you feel better in that moment,
100%.
Or if they know an important spot, that you forget for whatever reason and they can help you remember it or that kind of thing. I think the referees have all kinds of stories that they should one day tell, and maybe on this pod.
I mean,
I
little
agree.
referees
Yes,
sit down.
right? Can you imagine?
I can.
Like from their perspective?
Who do you have
nervous.
in mind?
Oh, honestly, well, I go way, way, way back with all of the different referees. I mean, I remember Danny Davis from the days of the Cape Cod Coliseum when I was growing up in the 80s, and he then sort of became a wrestler for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I go way, way back. But it's also, I believe, the makeup crew. Like, can you imagine the stories that they
Stories.
have?
You
And the seamstresses and, everybody who works on gear and just catering. I mean, but especially makeup. I think that's where most of the dirt gets
dumped.
discussed. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. The throwdowns are on, and WWE merch at Fanatics is 30% off with Pays, a fast online checkout offered by banks and credit unions. Snag t-shirts, title belts, sequined cowboy hats, or smacktacular shorts, all for 30% off.
With Pays, your actual card numbers aren't shared with merchants, so you can smash that buy button with added security and rock those shorts like they're your entrance music.
Use Pays with code PAZEPERKS. That's Pays Perks for 30% off at Fanatics until March 31st, 2026. Terms apply at fanatics.com/pays promo.
You know, I have this saying, I believe the camera sometimes is pointing the wrong way.
I agree.
Because, I mean, like, you know, you watch the show 2.5 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is, right? And it's like, oh, that time frame exists in its own bubble, right? But all the connective tissue that came together to make those 3 hours happen.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Insane. So camera is definitely pointing the wrong way.
Yes.
I feel like Unreal gives like
A little bit of that.
And
Yeah.
even the referees, like I have learned from watching how much they are doing, how much they're being told to call. Like it's a very impressive story. So I feel like some people are not a fan of that show, but I think it's highlighting a lot of the behind the scenes refs and crews.
And you like it.
I do.
And what do you think of Unreal? Seems like a hot button.
It is a very
issue.
hot button. But for me, it's times are changing.
Yeah.
And as much as I love, you know, protecting what this is, I also understand that times are changing. And you don't want to get left behind. I'm very big on like letting the future play out. Even something as stupid as 6'7", right? And it's
Right,
like,
right.
It's this new meme that
No, I'm aware. I have
the
kids.
younger people are doing. Yeah.
She does it. She does it pretty often.
And like, you know, the older people are like, "Oh, it doesn't mean anything. It's stupid. It's this. It's like
Right.
this." But I think like, okay, like in my day when we had our vines and stuff and we used to quote the vines, I'm sure the people who are
Yeah,
older
yeah.
than us were like, this is dumb. Like, what are we doing? But like now I understand, like I see, like we had our time. Now it's 6'7", and I'm fine with 6'7". Like
It doesn't upset you or offend you.
It doesn't offend me. Like sometimes I see it online and I even laugh because I understand that that's where we are now.
Right.
Like I'm 27, 28 now. After like in some years, my age group is not going to be making the hot trends anymore.
Right?
It's going
Let
to be.
me tell you, on the other side of this, I am no longer a part of the generation making the trends. And it's like a weird place to be. It is. I'm going to be 50 in September. And it's like, but I've been a part of, even just looking at it from this business, right? Like I literally grew up in this business and thinking about all of the generations of people that I've known and learned from and how things have evolved and how things have changed. And yet some things still stay exactly the same.
Yes.
You know, and that's the thing is I think Unreal, I like Unreal. I don't think it gives away the magic. I really don't. Because the magic is the magic.
100%.
You're never going to be able to, the magic is a feeling. And the magic is the feeling that you create and that you share with the audience, that you share with everybody who's in the ring with you. It's like this kinetic energy, and you can't give that away because it's not anything to give away. It's something you experience. So I tend to agree. I think, you know, times are evolving again, right? And it's an exciting time. It's a really exciting time to be a part of the world.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm with you. Even the boys, when they watch the matches backstage, like,
Yeah.
they're backstage and they still go like, wow, that was awesome.
Yeah. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
you know?
they know how the magic is done and they're still blown
right?
away.
Because
you know?
because
you guys are making it happen.
you're making it in the moment.
Yeah.
That's right. It's not anything static. It's not like, oh, I can tell you the 10 ways to reveal my cards or whatever in a card trick. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Now I know you're cracking jokes out there. Making it even better. I'm gonna be watching.
Yeah, I don't know, like Oba all mean.
I know,
and
that's
bad,
why I
and
can't
then he
picture
says
it.
something under his breath to you, and then you can't laugh.
They're laughing.
right? Yeah,
That's the contrast, right?
yeah. That's the
That's
fun
what
part.
pops them.
Yeah, exactly, because it's unexpected. Yeah. So, you growing up, you said WWE. Well, you didn't say this, but you have said this. That WWE wasn't really available on television,
Not live at the time.
not live. So, how were you able to watch, and how were you exposed to it? How did you even start watching?
I mean, it would come up on TV, but it would be backdated. Like
Okay.
maybe 2 weeks later, it comes out, and then it got to the point where the CDs would be released a day later. So when I was in my teenage years, I actually started watching WWE again in like 2011. I
Okay.
think this is like the summer of punk, if I'm not mistaken. And I would, the shows would come out on Monday and I would watch on Tuesday when I could. So I built up like a nice little collection of CDs of just
CDs.
wrestling from and everything from 2011 to like 2016, 2017 maybe. Yeah.
But it wasn't airing on any major station or anything.
No, it's
No.
not live. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely tape delay.
Tape delay.
And then, but at the time, was social media in 2011, right?
Yeah.
For me personally,
Facebook?
no. At
No,
the time.
okay.
Yeah, at the
So
time.
it wasn't spoiled for you then?
No,
So
not at
you
all.
were catching up pretty much as if it was live?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Who's your favorite at this time?
At this time, your husband.
Oh,
Yeah, at this
of
time, your
course,
husband.
Of course, he's my
I've-
favorite too.
They all
Watched
say
his
that.
stuff. I've studied him.
What is it about him?
It was the way he worked, just the intensity, the precision. Like I liked the way he worked in the ring. He was like more of a complete superstar. Like he was good at everything. Like nothing was like lacking. And I like that. You have your promo guys and your body guys and your work rate guys and all that stuff. But like he was complete.
The
And
total package.
The total package, and
Yeah.
I respected that.
Yeah. Is there any, because I agree.
I know. It's cute. I'm watching her, listening
the
to
total
you.
package in general. But he was also a bad guy,
He
right?
was.
How did you feel about that? Did you like that? He was a villain. Did you associate with that in any way? Or no, it was just his in-ring work that you liked the
I liked
most?
villains.
Yeah.
I've always liked villains.
Do you know why?
Because without the villain, there is no hero. Without the figure that is bigger than a man, there's nothing to overcome. So I think the villain is maybe even more important than the hero in every story.
1,000% agree with you. I've always loved the heels in any story, whether it's wrestling, whether it's the movies. The bigger the bad guy, the bigger the hero, right? Because if you're trying to overcome something and it's easy, then what kind of hero are you, right? But if you've got to fight from underneath and it's the bigger, badder, more powerful persona or monster or whatever it is, like
You
then
overcome.
you
You
overcome.
overcome.
Yeah, and that's the human story, right? Of being the underdog. And, all of us in life have things to overcome, depending on what challenges you want to take on. And I think life, when you live long enough, knocks you around. That's just the way it is. That's part of being human, and it's a human experience. So I think it's very relatable when people have, they want to watch that hero overcome because they associate themselves, whether or not they realize it. Of course, I always associated myself with the bad guy.
I'm like all
Same.
of this spoken like a true heel.
It was much more fun. Much more fun. I mean, when you do watch Star Wars, Darth Vader's,
It's a big one, yeah.
he's the best. It's like Darth Vader all the way. I mean, the Emperor was, I didn't love the Emperor personally.
Say no more. He needs to watch.
Yes, I will not say anymore. I
okay.
won't spoil
Don't spoil it,
anything.
don't spoil it,
Yes,
don't
no
spoil
spoiling.
Oba, we are partners with Fanatics, and they have this blind ranking that they want you to do.
Okay.
You have to rank 1 through 5 the best big men in the history of WWE. But you don't know what name is coming next. So be careful how you rank them.
It's tough. All right.
First up, Kane.
3.
Next up is The Big Show.
4.
The ultimate big man, Andre the Giant.
2.
The one and the only, The Undertaker.
1.
And finally, Oba Femi.
No! No, why would you do this to me? No. Let's start again. I can't be 5. Oh. S tier. Above 1. shift the list down. One, take
There we
us
go.
two.
There we go. Sorry. So, how did you start to draw? And was that an outlet for you when you were feeling the pressure at home and you were retreating? Was that an outlet for your emotion? What do you love about art?
I hate to say it, but I've definitely fallen out of love with art.
Out of love.
It's not the same. Like, it's something I did out of obligation for many years.
Oh, so it wasn't a love or a passion, it was obligation.
But like,
It was a love, it was a passion, and then I was put in a box. I was told, Isaac, you're going to be an artist. Oh, he's going to be an artist. He's a good artist. He's very artistic. He expresses himself that way.
So your teachers were saying this.
So everyone from my teachers to my parents to my friends, everyone said that. So even when like I wasn't as passionate about it, everyone else was pushing so hard that I felt obligated to do it. That's how that's how I felt about it for a long time. As far as the inception, I don't know how I started drawing. My mom would tell me stories about how I would say, "Mommy, draw this. Mommy, draw that. Draw a car. Draw a dog. Draw a cat." And my mom would draw these things, and then after a while, I would start to draw. And then one very interesting thing that I noticed is that because Nigerian parents are very much perfectionists, I became a perfectionist myself. So when I would draw and I wouldn't get it, I would get mad and,
Frustrated,
like tear the paper, throw it away, whatever.
That makes it not fun.
That did make it very much not fun. I grew out of that, after a while. I started to learn that like some of the mistakes are part of the art.
Right,
You compromise, you pivot, you make it work. So I learned that later, but like I definitely became like this like perfectionist. I still carry like traits of that to this day. Like when I see someone doing something, I'm like, he's not doing it well. And I struggle not to be like, hey, leave it, like just let me do it, or like tell them how to do it. But like you're not everyone's coach, you're not anybody's dad.
Right.
So you have to just like
just relax.
live with it,
So I have one piece of art that I'm curious about. It's not the Bray Wyatt, but that's very cool.
That's
Very
a good
cool.
one.
Do you want to say anything about the Bray Wyatt one?
I loved Bray.
Yeah.
I loved the original Wyatt family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just felt so passionately
The
about
NXT.
that. The NXT version and
Yep.
like when they first
When
got
they
to
first
the
came
main
up.
roster. I remember there was one line that they hit. I actually used that line in a promo a few years ago. He said, you can send anybody after us, but like don't send anyone that you want back. And I was like, this is the greatest bar ever. What a bar, what a mic drop. So I loved Bray. I loved watching Bray.
Yeah.
Very
Bray was
different.
amazing.
Very different.
I was about to go out and work, which was not my strong suit. And I was always so nervous before a match because like I would never want to make our business look bad. That was always my biggest concern because I'm not, I don't have the chops that everybody else has. And I was so nervous. I always get really, really nervous. But it was Bray who had just come back and he was standing at the curtain and he could tell. He knew what I was going through just by looking at me. And he just kind of gave me a little look and he gave me the knuckles and I was like, all right, I'm going to be okay. He was amazing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And generational.
I agree.
There's something that generational talent, whatever it is in the business, you just have this strange kinship, that's just sort of unspoken because we've all grown up in this environment in some form or fashion and it helps shape you, But there's this one drawing that you did with the one with the clock tower.
Oh yeah, the one with Big Ben on the old man's back.
Yes.
Yeah. That was actually
I couldn't tell
recent.
if it was an old man or what
Yeah.
It was
because
the
of
end of that post, I think.
the way that the old man has like dripping almost. You'll
Yeah.
see that or torn, tattered clothing or I'm not.
This is like everyone's favorite. I
Is
don't
it?
know
Well, because it's
why.
so fascinating.
I don't know why. Everyone says they love this one. And this one took me maybe an hour.
It's usually the best ones.
Hour?
Seriously, like the best music. People, the performers will say this wasn't even on the record
album.
at the time. Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
added it last minute because we had to fill time. But
Wow.
what were you thinking about? Why did you draw it, especially if it was recent and you don't like drawing anymore?
So I was still in school. I studied art in school, in college. So this was one of my projects or whatever. I think the idea was to illustrate that, time is undefeated. By looking at this picture, you can assume that at some point, this man was once whole and healthy and he held the clock straight, high up. And over time, he deteriorates and he's not the same anymore. Now it starts to lean, and you can also assume that in the near future he's going to get folded.
crushed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's getting folded at some point. So I think it does a really good job of telling you what was and showing you what is yet to come. I think that's what's so special about it. Everyone loves this one. This is everyone's favorite art piece of mine.
Really?
Yes.
What's your favorite art piece?
I don't have one. I have maybe I would say it's maybe the few I did of my mom. I've drawn my mom quite the number of times.
I've seen one of them.
I love my mom so much.
Yeah.
I love my mom
that's
so
so
much.
great.
This one?
I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
this one
Yeah,
too
it-
because you could really feel her energy. I think.
Yeah.
But obviously, I haven't seen all the ones that you've drawn. But is this like not one of your favorites, or is it?
No, it's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there. Considering my skill level and how old I was and where I was in life, like I appreciate this one a lot. Like,
And
it's
how
like-
old were you when you drew this?
I was definitely a teenager, that's for sure. Maybe 14, 15. I'm not sure. I can't,
Right,
I
around
really
then,
can't-
but you were
around
living
that
at
time.
home.
I was in Nigeria for sure.
Yeah,
2015. So.
15?
Yeah.
That was probably 17 then. Okay.
it's amazing. She looks so alive.
She is. That is my mother. Yeah, she's very, very alive.
What's one of the best lessons she's ever taught you?
She taught me how to love.
Mm.
She taught me how to love. She taught me what genuine love feels like, and she didn't do this like intentionally. She didn't list
No,
out the
'cause she
steps.
loved you.
She just loved me.
Yeah.
And like now to this day, like even with like relationships and stuff like that, like I know when someone really loves me.
Yeah.
That's one thing she taught me. When someone is halfway in, I can tell because my mom showed me love.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful.
100%.
I love that. I love that. And I think she would love that. As a mother, that's like the greatest thing that you could hear your child say is that you taught me how to love.
And
did.
that you felt it the whole time.
Yes. To feel loved your whole life. That's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So in artwork and what you just described with the tower and the old man, it's storytelling.
Yes.
So I'm curious if you recognize a tie for your, and by the way, and I hate to keep throwing my husband out there. I mean, I don't really, but he was an artist as well. He went to
Really?
school for graphic design. He never finished school, but he was a really good and still is a really good artist.
He's my
Helped
uncle.
all my kids. Yeah. Yeah. Helped all my kids with their art projects, with everything. You don't want me helping because it's just not going to come out very well. But he was amazing in the things that he did. But he is a student, right? He studies everything. He studies human nature, psychology. And I mean from observing, right? And asking questions and learning from all different kinds of people all over the world. And you seem very much that way. You're constantly learning. You're observing body language. You want to know the whys of things. And I find in art, it tells a story which directly relates to wrestling.
Yes.
And I'm curious your perspective on that. And do you think that there's a natural bridge there, that maybe one drew you to the other?
I can't say there's definitely a bridge that that lends itself to me crossing over, but I can definitely see the parallels. Just like I said earlier, I would be drawing as a child and it would go one way, and then I would get frustrated and rip it up, and then I learned that like you have to pivot. Same thing here. Like like people get injured, people don't make it. Things happen, and you have to pivot too. The story has to change. So I see the parallels. I see the beauty in the mistakes. You know, plans that we didn't have leading up to Mania, all of a sudden we have them now. You know, it's the same
Right.
thing in art, the exact same thing. So there's a lot of parallels.
Can you be a perfectionist in WWE?
You can, but I don't think that's going to work. I just don't. I don't think
You'll be very frustrated.
You will be very
Yeah.
frustrated, and I think I learned that lesson quickly. There was like, here in NXT when I was in developmental, I would come up with these matches and come up with these elaborate finishes and stuff like that. And Shawn would always change it. Shawn Michaels would always change the finish. And I'm just like, and it used to like, you know, eat at me at first. But I'm like,
Why?
He knows where we're going.
Right.
After this. I don't know where we're going after
Right,
this. So
right.
you kind of have to just like lend yourself as a tool to make the art come to life and be okay with where it goes.
And you're putting a lot of trust in him, I guess, right?
Yeah, but that's reassuring trust. He's Shawn Michaels. You
Yeah,
know,
that's-
if there's anyone who's going to tell me what to do, please, by
Let
all
it be
means,
Shawn.
it's him.
Yes.
But like, you know, you have to square with that in yourself, you know, in your own mind, and be like, I'm willing and able to take this where it needs to or has to go.
Were there other lessons there in addition to knowing where you were going, right? Which is something you didn't necessarily know or were privy to. But was there a pattern that you noticed that you kept trying to do, that you kept running into the same wall? Like, was there one particular thing? Were you trying to be too elaborate? Was there something that you found yourself doing that just didn't work?
No, I can't say I like tried the same thing over and over. I mean, like I'm one of those people who like, okay, depending on the situation, I know which route to take. Whether that's the best route or not, I don't know. But it's my route, right? And at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, whatever I have in mind, I have to put that to the side. This is what Shawn wants. To give him what he wants, and I will give him what he wants. So I learned quickly. You know, that's part of being like a student of the game. You know,
Right.
Like sometimes I would ask him what he's looking for, and then go draft something, and then
Yeah.
he still doesn't like it, and that's fine too.
Yep.
But at least like that's part of the learning process. You know, like seeing where his mind is at. You know, what direction he's trying to go, and you know, learning from him, because. I don't know how to book wrestling. I'm not a booker, but like it's an important skill to learn. I feel like a lot of guys, they're just like, you know, make me champion, you know,
Right,
do
right,
this for
yeah.
me, do that for me, but they don't even understand like the patterns and the way in which, you know, the booking works,
The why?
the why. So
Yeah.
I just lent myself to Shawn and I let him take me where I needed to be.
What is the importance of the why, do you think, in life in general?
Importance of why? I
Of learning the why.
I think the why makes us, you know, look further, look into the past, look into the future. The why is definitely important. Sometimes you have to just not answer the question. Sometimes you should be okay with because. And that's the hardest thing. Why? Because I said so. That's actually something
I learned that
that's-
growing up.
that's
yeah.
something my dad actually taught me. He didn't like to explain himself. He wasn't he wasn't the best communicator on the planet. So so a lot of things like, Daddy, where are we going to? You shut up, my friend. We're going. Like, okay, I
called you his
guess
friend.
we're going.
Long
you know?
for the ride.
And he made me okay with that. So like, because I have that respect for my dad, that's why when I came to NXT, I was able to see these coaches, like, you know, Matt Bloom and Shawn, and even Ivar, who was like a coach for me, you know, for a while. I was able to see them as that, you know, authority figure that I have to listen to. And if they said something, I don't need to really know why, because it's fine for me sometimes.
So, what do you think? Do you hope to have kids?
Yes.
So, what do you think are some of the most important lessons you would want to teach them?
I mean, a lot of times I feel like people try to create this contrast of giving their children things that they didn't have. I'm going to try my best to simulate a lot of the things that I did have. I did have strict parents. I did have rules and guidelines. I had a regiment, and my children will have a regiment for sure. As far as things that I maybe didn't have, I would try to make my children understand that they are people too. Because I remember a lot of times when I was a kid, I'd have something going on in school, but I would never bring it to my parents because, like, to them, it was just like, you're in school, that's child's play, you're in what,
Right.
middle school, who cares? Like they treated it like it wasn't my life. But at that time, I'm 13.
That's all you know at that
Yeah.
time.
That's all I know.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
your world.
I don't have the fashionable trousers that people wear to school. Like, it was important to me, you know, like,
Right.
and like I'm going to see it from that perspective. You know, when my children bring me things, I'm like, it might not be important to me, but it's their life.
It's
And
important to them.
Important to them.
Yeah.
And if I have to stare them and make them understand that maybe it's not priority right now, sure. But as far as the level of importance to them, I will address it.
So you remember how it felt.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Being, and again, not that your parents meant anything bad by it. It's just they
No.
were dealing with
So much more.
other real life stuff, right? And to them, yeah, your pants don't matter. By the time you'll learn what really, really matters. But as a child, you remember how that felt. And that's so interesting because I've had moments like that too when I was growing up and I was told certain things and I was like, you know what? I understand where they're coming from, but I am not going to repeat that. I'm going to handle this particular situation differently. And I think that's very interesting, especially when you bring it from the child's perspective,
Yeah.
right? And I find life is all about perspective at different points in time. Even when you're talking about staying calm and thinking of it as practice, right? Like that's a perspective, and that's not a perspective everybody's able to have. But it's what helps you and what helps you stay calm in the moment and what will help guide you through your life, right? That's one of those key lessons because there's still so much life for you to experience and so much for you to do. So what do you want to do?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I want to wrestle.
Yes.
I want to be remembered in wrestling. I remember watching wrestling and feeling strongly about, you know, whether it was this superstar or this storyline. I was invested to a very high degree. And I want people to watch my work and feel the exact same way. I basically want to give people back the experience I got from watching wrestling. That's my big thing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the pros of being a fan coming into the sports. Like, you know what you want to give back.
Right.
And since, like, it's funny, but since day one that I walked into NXT, I knew that, okay, I want to sound real. I want to be real. I want to make people feel things. I want to give and then take it away. And, you know, like, I want them to go on that ride, you know, with me. That's what I want to do in wrestling. I mean, championships and conquest is going to come, you know, the ruler is the ruler. But I think that's my big takeaway. I think that's like when I'm done, I want people to feel Obafemi.
So I always quote Maya Angelou because and I butcher the quote a little bit, but people will never remember what you said. They'll never remember what you did. But they will always remember how you made them feel. And if you can make people feel, you know, that's the genuine connection. That is what people take away because they had some type of emotional reaction to the story you were telling or the character you were being or what you said, the one line, you know, whatever that is, because you made them feel something. And that's what's going to connect them to you. Can we talk about how amazing my sleeping patterns have been lately?
Let's.
I love my mattress from Brooklyn Bedding. I found myself sinking in just enough. It feels like I finally found a bed that can meet my sleep needs.
Brooklyn Bedding knows sleep isn't one size fits all. That's why they offer mattresses for everybody, every sleep style, even in hard to find sizes. Brooklyn Bedding also offers a 120-night comfort trial. Love it, or they'll help you return it or swap it hassle-free.
Go to brooklynbedding.com and use my promo code STEPH at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. That's brooklynbedding.com and promo code STEPH for 30% off site-wide. Support our show and let them know we sent you after checkout. BrooklynBetting.com, promo code Steph. So you're a very well-educated man. Are there, I love Maya Angelou, and she's such a beautiful teacher, and there's a few others that I follow and learn from. Are there any standout philosophers, teachers, books, quotes, things that you hang on to that you use for motivation or otherwise?
I typically tend to pull from everywhere. And then I try my best to filter what's for me and what's not for me. I can't tell you like there's one person that said this
XYZ,
and I,
yeah.
live by what they said. I pull, there's always a lesson everywhere. Everywhere. Even your kids can teach you lessons.
Absolutely.
So
All the time.
you just have to pull and filter. That's how I live my life. If there's a lesson there, I learn it and I keep going. If there's another lesson and it's not for me, then it's not for me.
let it go.
I drop it. And then sometimes too, like it's not for you now.
Right.
It might be for you later. If I was to say anyone, Terry Taylor is one.
Yeah?
He and I, when I was in NXT, we always disagreed on a lot of things. But Terry doesn't actually know that he's actually like very inspirational to me. Terry is a very smart, intelligent man, great storyteller. So you get lost in his words a lot of times. Like Terry taught me, this is one small one, very minute. Terry taught me the word minutia. He was talking, he was like, oh, we're gonna do this. You can't get lost in the minutia. I was like, oh, what was that? And he was like, minutia? It's the detail, the nuance. And I was like, wow, so Terry is one. Terry is one. Let me throw his
That's
name out
pretty
there.
cool.
Yeah.
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 Shout out to Terry
Shout
Taylor.
out to Terry Taylor.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Your entrance at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? How are you feeling?
Oh, man. I was really hoping the Saudi crowd would be on board with the chants and, shout out to Saudi. They were there. I felt the energy, long ramp, so bigger
the long
steps.
entrance. Yeah.
Much bigger steps, more shoulders, in there than usual. But yeah.
And where does the strut come from?
I mean, it's kind of like a twist on, Ric Flair and,
Oh, okay. It's
there-
kind of what you feel.
it's a different one. I made it more modern. It's more arm action, more
I've
shoulders.
seen people doing it online.
It's catching fire right now.
is,
I really
it
should
is.
start a TikTok because it's going crazy on there.
Oh, yes.
I should.
How about you do that like now, like
I
today,
mean,
or
let's-
whenever this comes out?
So, I mean, a lot of people ask me how I do the strut.
Right.
It's a lot of shoulder motion. It's all in the shoulders. People think it's just arm. No, it's shoulders.
Actually, the
It's the shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good tip. Good tip. And a little bounce in the knee.
A little bit bounce in the
bit,
knee.
yeah.
Long ramps, you have to do long strides to get where you're going quicker. But yeah, very awesome entrance. That
Yeah,
day.
it was incredible. And an incredible performance, too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. And I know the beads are important to you, right? Because they're a tribute to your culture in Nigeria.
Yep.
And do you wear a lot of different kinds of beads?
Yeah, I've accumulated quite the collection of beads ever since I started wrestling. I have about maybe 15 different colors. We'll see.
Are we
them-
going to be matching beads to gear at some
Oh,
point?
that's
Like,
always
that's
the,
always the goal.
The goal.
Okay, okay.
But sometimes I just try something different.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they get bigger with each show?
So someone,
Those were some big
actually
beads.
said-
There. I'm just saying.
I think those ones are definitely the biggest ones I own right now.
Okay.
But I
Rumble.
could do it to where it gets ridiculous and it's just like maybe 3 big beads around my face. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see.
Still to come.
Still to come. My pastor, he was a very respectable man. His name is Femi Paul. He said a lot of wise things to me. When tensions were building between like me and my dad, he would always like step in and be like, he's your father, he loves you. He was a very good guardian to me. Matter of fact, my entire like church community, they came together to raise money too when I was coming over to the States, which shout out to Grace Assembly.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that community and Femi Paul as our leader, our Christian father, he helped me a lot. He said a lot of wise things to me that stuck with me, you know.
What's one of them?
He told me never to disrespect my parents, you know. That's a big one. A lot of people say things out of anger and, you know,
Frustration,
resentment,
sure.
frustration. And he always, you know, he made that a point because, like, parents are the ones who are going to bless you when you go, you know, into the world. And I do believe that. My life is what it is. I strongly believe because my parents pray and they put positivity into my life, blessings into my life. So I'm going to do well. So, yeah, Femi Paul was a huge inspiration for me.
And anything else that sticks with you?
The one thing that has stuck with me, no one particularly said this, but just like looking back on my life, I can say like, dream big. Don't be afraid to dream big. Because if you look at me 8 years ago, I was in Nigeria. It didn't feel like I could be a WWE superstar, but I always wanted more out of life. I didn't know for sure that I was going to be in the WWE, but I was like, okay, I'm throwing now. There's no reason why I can't get a scholarship to the US. I'm in the US now, I'm in Middle Tennessee. There's no reason why I can't be in Alabama in the SEC. You know, I'm in the SEC. There's no reason why I can't win the SECs. Win the SECs. There's no reason why I can't place at nationals. There's no reason why I can't be a WWE superstar. Does the tryout, becomes a superstar. There's no reason I can't be NXT champion, becomes that. So you just have to keep becoming more. Like never settle, like never be content with who you are. There's this people, I always say this, people give this advice, be yourself. That's fine. You can be yourself and you'll be okay where you're at. Sometimes if you want to be more, you have to evolve. So don't stop dreaming big and always evolve is my
I
thing.
love that philosophy. And I think when you're saying be true to yourself, evolving is a part of that,
Right.
right? Because you always want to grow. You never want to be stuck. You want to continue to become the best person you can possibly be. Or at least some people feel that way. But I agree with that mindset completely. I don't think you ever want to be just stuck.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it just, that would not be any fun. And then where's the adventure?
It's
You
just
know?
comfort.
Yeah.
You know, when you're
Perceived
stuck,
comfort.
it's perceived
but
comfort.
comfort's gonna, I mean, things are gonna change. If there's one thing you can guarantee in life, it's that change will happen. Just when you think you're at your most comfortable, then something's gonna flip. So you have to be prepared for it. You know, embrace change, which is not easy.
No.
You know, but if you have a growth mindset, I think that it's helpful. It's that perspective again. Like, okay, something's going to happen. All right, so it happened. Now, how am I going to continue forward? And what am I going to do next? This isn't about hype or luck. It's about optimization, living stronger, thinking clearer, and performing better every day.
At Game Day Men's Health, that's the standard. Game Day Men's Health helps men improve testosterone, energy, and sexual performance with real testing and face-to-face visits.
They help men reach their full potential with science-backed care, from testosterone optimization and peptide therapy to ED and performance support with personalized treatment plans.
With over 400 clinics across North America, they've got you covered. No long waits, no online guesswork.
When life demands you be at your best, every day is game day. Learn more or book your visit at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. We'd like to do a quick burnout check-in presented by Game Day Men's Health.
Okay.
Do you ever feel like you're running on empty? And if so, what is your reset strategy?
Give yourself an off day. Give yourself an off day, detox, come back to it later.
Recovery is important.
Very.
How do you keep your mental and physical stamina where it needs to be?
Learn to push yourself past your limits. Learn to operate at like a 90, even though the world requires you to be at a 70. So the 70 is a piece of cake, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
That's
That goes back to your whole practice how you want to play.
Yeah.
I mean, makes a lot of sense. Game Day Men's Health believes burnout is not a badge of honor, it's a signal. Their in-person personalized treatments like testosterone optimization, peptide treatments, and NAD plus therapy may help men stay focused, energized, and sharp for whatever life throws at them. With over 400 clinics nationwide, learn more about booking your free blood work and consultation. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Your timeline, you just made it sound so easy. But I know that it
Why
wasn't.
can't I do this? I did
Like,
it.
well, and so then I did this. I'm going to become champion.
Yeah.
Like, just it's so impressive.
It is
See.
very impressive.
Thank you.
I don't think your average person can do that. Or maybe they can if they truly believe it and work hard enough at it. But I don't think everybody has that kind of mindset to be able to persevere, like that. And clearly it's from a loving family. Your mom taught you love, right? It's from a community that supported you and taught you so many lessons about respect, about what's possible. Who taught you to dream big? Who did teach you to dream big?
I just recognized the pattern of everyone who was successful. They weren't afraid to dream wild.
Like who?
Name one. Elon,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, like, whoever.
But I mean, are these people that you were following that
Yes.
helped?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Those are a couple good ones. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I listened to a lot of Joe Rogan when I was in college.
Yeah.
A lot of Joe Rogan. And, he had this mindset of like, go out there, go and do it. And
Yes.
yeah. David Goggins, like, his story is
Yeah.
incredible. Like, just from being like a plumber, just a regular average guy, to becoming who he is today. Like, it's insane. So, just, if you look back at who he was and who he is now, it's like, how do you even dream that big? Where do you start?
Right.
You start.
You just start.
You just start.
And you keep pushing the goalpost.
Yes.
So once there's all these different theories on happiness, right? That once you achieve your goal, that's not actually what makes you happy. It's the pursuit of happiness.
The journey.
Yeah, it's the journey. There's this woman, Diana Nyad, who swam, and I know I quote a lot of the same stuff, but
it works every time.
she swam from Cuba to Florida. And she started trying in her 20s. She didn't accomplish the task until she was in her 60s.
Crazy.
And she'd given up in the middle. It's not like she'd continued to try, but what made her go back when she was in her 60s to do this? And I heard her speak. She wrote a book, I read the book, but I heard her speak. And what she said is, it's not about who you become once you reach your destination. It's who you become along the way. And I thought that was so powerful and so perfect because it's true. And the decisions you make, the reactions you have in the moment to things, how you handle extreme situations, whatever they are.
Pivoting.
Yeah, that's your character that defines who you are and who you ultimately become.
That's deep.
It is
That's deep.
Yeah. But you seem kind of like a deep guy.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm a thinker
I'm
for sure.
feeling you a little bit.
I'm definitely a thinker.
Yeah.
Whether good or bad,
Right, right.
Definitely a thinker.
That's good though,
Yeah.
I think.
I
And
think so.
You're creatively minded as well as practically minded, which those two don't always go hand in hand.
Yeah. But I don't know how I became this way, but I have. And sometimes it's not too good because, like, when the ignorance is bliss, it really is.
I know, yeah.
Because sometimes when you start asking why and you start finding these answers, you're like, oh.
Yeah. They're not pretty
they're
sometimes.
not always, the best to look at. So sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Sometimes you know too much. Sometimes you read the language and you're like,
Yeah.
That's why because I said so.
It's helpful.
It's
Okay.
better sometimes.
very
Got
helpful
it.
there.
Yeah.
Because it is, it just is.
It is.
Yeah, so, yeah, good or bad, this is who I am.
This is a loaded statement, but I once asked my dad a question, and he looked at me and he said, I want you to rethink if you really want to know the answer to that question, because I will tell you. And I'm not sure that you want to know the answer. And it's really not, it wasn't a big deal. It's not anything related to anything that's happening. But it was like,
Is wrestling real?
it was, yeah, yeah. No, so I learned that lesson super young. But, and the answer is yes.
Yeah, obviously.
No, but it was just interesting because there was something that had happened, and he said you can't be afraid of the answer if you really want to know. And I didn't ask again. I realized, you know what? I'm good right now. I don't
So
think
here's
maybe
the
I'm not
thing.
ready for that.
What was the question?
I know, that's what I'm
Yeah,
wondering.
it was a very minor thing. It wasn't like a big, huge thing. But yeah, but it was an interesting answer, you know?
Very.
Yeah. And, you know, it makes you think, right? Because sometimes you don't want to know the answer because the answer can be really disappointing or something you don't understand as well, and you come to understand it later in life. But if you want to know, you can't be afraid of what the answer is.
I love that.
Yeah. I know, it's very deep, very deep.
It is.
I didn't think that we were going to get deep in this environment because it's like not an intimate setting.
Oh
you
no,
know, and
the
it's-
lights are purple.
Yes,
and the
and
atmosphere is
it's
dim.
like-
We were ready to get deep the second we started rolling. Come on,
He's like, really?
let's be real.
We're sitting on top of each other over here.
Yeah, with my chair that now doesn't rock, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Because it was laying back and I can't do that.
those scare me. You know.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like
don't wanna topple.
300 pounds.
Yeah,
Oh no.
But you know how to roll.
Thankfully,
You can take a bump.
I don't want to.
Not right
today.
now, not right now. WWE World returns to Las Vegas this April 16th through the 20th, and it's the can't-miss destination during WrestleMania week. WWE World brings the WWE Universe closer than ever to the superstars, legends, and iconic moments that define WWE. With immersive exhibits, exclusive merchandise, and experiences you won't find anywhere else.
See superstars like Drew McIntyre, Liv Morgan, Jey Uso, Dominic Mysterio, Tiffany Stratton, and many more, with even more appearances still to come.
Tickets are on sale now at WWEworld.com. Save 10% with promo code YourStory10. So what are some of the things that interest you for your future? Like where do you want to see yourself when you're 50? Like what are you?
I want to be a father when I'm 50. I want to be. I know a lot of guys say like, "Oh, I should be done by 50," but like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
knows? But for now, I'll go with the trend. I would like to be done by 50 wrestling. I see myself giving back at that point in my life in whatever capacity, even if it's like throwing, shot put. Like I still have a lot of knowledge
Yes.
that I acquired over the years. I can still give that to somebody, and hopefully it's wrestling too. Like hopefully I've done a lot of things. I've done it all, so I have things in the vault to give back, and train someone else, and watch them become something too. And I don't know. I'm halfway there.
Yeah, I know it's hard to say.
So
I
it's hard
just
to
didn't know
say.
if you had visions of where you see yourself,
I'm kind of a close proximity vision guy.
which is great.
Get that?
Yeah.
Because like
You
even,
live in the moment.
Big
Because
day
I-
by day girl.
I think about evolving, but I don't think about evolving to this set point in the future.
Right.
I just think about getting better than I am now. So I can't really tell you what I want from when I'm 50.
That's very fair. Why do you say that?
Day by day.
Yeah. You said you're a day by day girl.
There's a lot going on.
Anything you care to share?
No, I just mean like, I think similar mindset to him, like thinking about 20 years from now, 15, even 10, it feels,
Daunting.
yeah.
It can be.
And then
Yeah.
I think back to like being more present and trying so hard to live in the now as a mom, as a friend, as a wife. Like it's almost easier to appreciate each day and not think, because then I also will be so overwhelmed thinking about even 2 years from now, 5 years. Is that
Yeah, it makes sense.
not small minded because I want so much, but like let's just
No, and I think that's actually a beautiful way to be because who knows what the future holds?
Right.
And who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? You know, the old proverbial, you can get hit by a bus. So, you know, you have to live in the moment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to pull up, remember that I had this tweet that I sent you the other day about the woman and her husband
Oh.
had just passed. If I can find it in our chain,
yeah.
which is like kind
I
of
know it's probably in the links.
Let's see, yeah. So this is, and again, I won't read the whole thread, but it's a 102-year-old woman who had been married for 78 years was asked on her deathbed what she wished she had done differently. And she talks about her husband mostly. I wish I had kissed him more and criticized him less. I wish I had asked him more questions. I wished I had danced with him more, even when I was tired. I wish I had forgiven faster. I wish I had told him more often what I loved about him. I wish I had worried less about the laundry and more about the laughter. I wish I had been more present when he was dying. And then her final words for her daughter, don't wait. Don't wait until it's almost over to start living. Don't wait until you're too tired to dance. Don't wait until you've run out of time to ask the questions. Do it now. Kiss him now. Laugh with him now. Forgive now. Tell him now.
Wow. Poor guy.
Right? She sounds like maybe
rough.
she had it rough.
He nagged him his
had it
whole
rough,
life.
yeah.
Died of stress. Wow.
Yeah, well, but it's relatable,
It
right?
is,
Like,
it is.
how many times have I have to finish this task, whatever it is, before I can go sit on the sofa for a minute or
Yeah.
whatever it is. It's like you get swept up in all the minutia,
The minutia.
that you think is important, that ultimately isn't, because
Because
that's not what matters.
When you said what your mom, how she made you feel loved, I thought back to, we had just shared this, like you were, as a parent, are so busy doing so much to make everything, you're packing the lunches and you're not as present as you could be. So for you to walk away from a childhood and say like you felt that love, it's what all moms strive for, just to tie it all back together.
yeah,
Shout out to your mom.
Shout out.
yeah.
Shout out to Marielle Dugbeson.
There we go. So, just sort of to end things on a high note, is there like a great story of you and your mom that you remember? Like you
know
were
he's
trying
laughing.
to accomplish something and she stepped in. It seems like you're remembering a moment.
I'm remembering a few. They weren't quite as soft and loving.
Right,
but, So fun fact.
Okay.
Me and my mom would always like read things together. You know how like you're helping your son through whatever. And I just remember falling asleep during one of our reading sessions. And she lets me like doze off almost like 70%. And then she screams out, read. And I remember like waking up and like panicking and I'm continuing, the farmer said this. And to tie that all back together, I used the exact same line this past
Yes.
Friday on SmackDown.
Yes, you did.
I did.
You did.
That was from my mom. That's
Oh, how cool is that? Oh, I
Wow.
love that.
that's a mom exclusive there.
That's a different
Yeah.
kind of full circle moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
read.
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 And,
And then the truth came out. And then you punished him for it.
I did.
You did. You laid the smack down, or so they say. Yes. Well, but this has been an awesome interview. Thank you very, very much. I wish you all the success in the world, however you define success, the things that you want to accomplish. I think you have so much to give and so much to experience yourself and to give back. And I have no doubt that you're going to do that because of what's in your heart and who you are. And it's been a real privilege to have this opportunity to interview you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. Really loved it. Great experience.
Yay. Good, even though I was late.
Thank you.